This is The Art of Startup War, and I am your host, Brian McMahon. I am the sensei here at Expert Dojo, the fastest growing startup accelerator in Southern California. Now, in the first 2 seasons, we answered your questions about how to find investment for your business. We brought in the most accomplished investors in startup in America. You can find it on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Now, here in season 3, we're flipping the script. We're going to hear real stories from entrepreneurs who are in the trenches today. In these episodes, we're going to take our guests through the storytelling model called the entrepreneur's journey. We'll hear about what sparked their call to entrepreneurship, help they received along the way, forces they overcame, dark times and revelations. So join us every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Start the week a smarter entrepreneur. Morning, it's 10 o'clock. It's Brian. I'm back again. Another phenomenal entrepreneur who's built another life-changing business. I have got my very good buddy, Sean from Go Snow.
Brian, thank you for having me and good morning.
What's up?
What's up, my friend?
I'm saying what's up because
what's up?
When you and me, when we started off, I thought this is cool. I'm going to get to know Sean. I'm going to get to hang out in snow resorts and ski resorts and hang out with really awesome people. And I'm going to learn how to ski without killing someone.
But you haven't even learned to ski. Well, snowboard.
I'm going to.
Yes.
Snow, you bring up a very important distinction. Yes. I'm going to learn to snowboard because I'm more of a snowboarder than a skier. I just feel I'm more of like a woolly hat on my head as opposed to $800 worth of gear.
That's exactly right. And you fit much more into the grungy snowboard culture.
I do, actually.
You totally do.
My wife would be totally in agreement with that. She was like, yeah, totally. But what I love about you most is the fact that you took this business from, again, like many entrepreneurs that we have here, is a huge gaping hole, which nobody else saw as a product fit. They just didn't see it. But looking back on it, it's so obvious. And then you went in and you attacked it head on and brought in some of the biggest team in the world. And we're going to go deep into Go Snow. Do you like that? Deep into snow and Go Snow.
Love it.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. Yes.
So we're going to go deep into how you built it, what you built, where it was. But before we do that, I want to go a bit further back. Like, what brought you into entrepreneurship in the first place?
Yes. So I spent 12 years in the enterprise software business. So I was working for big software companies like Computer Associates, McAfee, Mercury Interactive. And I held, very senior roles in those companies. In my last role at Computer Associates or CA Technologies, I was building new cloud services and taking them to market through our global service provider partnerships. So this was a big, good, fun job. But I was actually hugely, hugely depressed in that. And for me, it just came down to not living in what was true to me, and I'd always viewed myself as a snowboarder, and I had a feeling that there was something bigger and better out there for me.
And you're not just you're a great snowboarder, right? And you have lots of buddies in that space. But I really it's really interesting what you say, because you have jobs in some of the biggest companies in the world. You're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not like you're sitting there with like a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 salary. You're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in a salary. You're living it up in great apartments in beautiful cities all over around the world, but you're not fulfilled.
That's exactly right. I was totally depressed. And, I joke around with people saying, you shouldn't have been able to punch the smile off my face. But I just wasn't feeling good. And even though I was highly paid and had the apartment and the cars and all of the fun things, I just wasn't feeling good. And really what it came down to was just the feeling that there was something bigger and more in tune to my truth that was out there for me.
Yeah, I love that, mate, because so many people, in reality, we all feel that, right? But we all repress it. We keep it down because we think to ourselves, oh, yeah, well, we've something bigger and better. But if I have a drink this evening, if I meet a really nice girl or a really nice guy, if I have a really nice house, or if I go on a nice vacation, I can hide away from the fact that really we were kind of put on this earth to do a tiny bit more than just go into a job until we just have nothing left in our existence. Like, seriously?
That's exactly right. And I mean, I tried the restaurants, I tried the wine, and none of it really worked. Like I tried, I'll just get a bigger commission check, and not even that made me any happier.
So you searched for something which was bigger, and Go Snow came
Yes.
right in. How did you come up with the idea? Like, was it a moment that you were on the ski slopes and you thought, "Whoa, hold on a second, this is crazy"?
The idea for Go Snow came really through being depressed, and then a very good friend of mine introduced me to a meditation-based change coach, and so I started working with Justine, and through meditation, she was able to help me start to feel really, really good. So instead of being depressed, I started to feel happy again, even though I was still employed in the enterprise software business. I started to feel happy, and then through my time with working with Justine, she emailed me after one of our sessions, and she said, "Are you aware? Are you aware that your entire energy system changes when we talk about snowboarding? Why haven't you done anything with snowboarding?" And I said, "Well, look, I love snowboarding." She said, "Well, I can see that." I said, "Well, but I also love to make money as well." And I just hadn't figured out how to, make money and snowboard, and really do what I love all at the same time.
Beautiful.
And Justine said, "Well, look, I can tell you this right now, that you are going to marry software and snowboarding together and make a lot of money and create an awesome company." Now, the name Go Snow wasn't even in my mind or her mind at that point in time, but what we did then was we continued down the path, and soon I realized that, hang on a second, I build new cloud services for software companies. That means, looking at markets, identifying trends, and building software solutions to meet those needs. I saw a huge opportunity in the snow sports industry to get a team of guys together, to apply software to make it easier for people to participate in snow sports around the world and make it easier for them to do more of what they love. And from there, we built a bookings platform called Go Snow.
Beautiful. So you noticed at the time something fundamental on the slopes, which is, to me, it still baffles me. When you told me this first, I thought, there's no way this is true. There's no way that all of these extremely wealthy people, not everybody's wealthy, but just smart, and some of the biggest people in the world, they arrive at a ski resort and then they have to get into a line like they're 5-year-olds in school, waiting for their ski lift passes, and then they have to get into another line so that they can try and book their coaches. Like, with the technology we have around us in the world, for me, I just couldn't believe that didn't exist.
Yes, and it's just really down to the one of the big problems that we're solving is there's still no technology in snow sports, and some of the resorts have got okay websites, but it's not an on-demand type. Turn up, push a button, get a pass, book an instructor, or book a different experience should I want that. And we do all that. We make it easy for people to book lessons and buy lift passes from laptop and phone in a few simple clicks.
I love that. And we're going to get to the whole solution towards the end. I want to bring people a little bit through the journey that you went through to actually get there. So you came up with the idea. You said, great, there's a problem. People can't do these pretty simple things. Why don't we create a Travelocity or a Priceline which will allow anyone booking any type of snow sports facilities anywhere to be able to actually go there and book their coaches, book their lifts, and book everything else, right? So you did that. Now, talking about it and thinking about it is one thing. Implementing it is a whole different ballgame. So what did you do? How did you build your team? So what came first?
The first thing that came was getting a team together.
Yeah.
I had an idea, and how we got the idea was, I was teaching, once Justine and I had discovered, that there's an opportunity, and then I decided to pursue that because I viewed it that this is what's true to me. If there's a piece of work that I'm here to do on this planet. It's to marry my software skills together with my passion for snowboarding and make it easier for people to do more of what they love.
So what did you do?
So I quit my job, right? Yeah, right. And everyone
straight away.
Everyone
Dude,
said,
"You're mad."
Crazy?
Just tell me, just to humor us, how much were you getting paid?
It was a lot of money, it was.
Come on, you can tell us. You're amongst friends.
Let's say, north of like $500,000 a year.
Oh no, you gave that up. You're mad.
And
sometimes everybody else tells entrepreneurs they're mad, and I'm like, "Are you crazy? He's not mad. He's a genius." $500,000. Whoa. That's a toughie.
And and I had a no questions asked expense account, which I still love to eat. And Sydney's got some beautiful restaurants, which is where I spend most of my time. So
you're a legend.
I quit.
Yeah, you're a legend. Right now, you're a legend in my mind. You quit $500,000 to pursue your passion in life. And then you went for the team. So you went for team first, which I absolutely love. So you were filling in the gaps in the skills. What did you look for first in the team? And how did you find that person?
So the first thing I looked for was somebody who really understood the snow sports industry. I really understand software, and I've got a strong network in the tech business. Here in the United States, in Australia, and even in Europe, as I worked for McAfee up there for some time. But I really needed somebody who understood how ski resorts operate, and more so, I needed somebody who had all of the connections at those resorts, so we could accelerate, getting the platform into the hands of the ski resorts, which really are our customers.
Beautiful. And who did you find?
I found Scott Anfang. Scott is head coach snowboarding for the
Legend.
US team. Yes.
Head coach for the US Olympic team. Amazing. But how do you approach somebody like that? You knew him already, did you?
Well, actually, one of my best friends, this is actually really cool. So my mom worked for Aspen Skiing Company for a long time. So prior to getting on this mission, I was very well connected with a few people Mum had introduced me to, and one of my best friends who was running a ski resort in New Zealand said, "You've got to meet and connect with Scott Anfang." So Caesar, his name is, introduced me to Scott. Caesar later invested in the company, and then Scott and I got talking about making it easier for people to participate in skiing and snowboarding. And Scott, being head coach snowboarding of the US team, is hugely passionate about increasing participation in snow sports.
And he was in straight away. You said, "Scott, this is what I need. This is my skill. This is what we're building." But you still had no ability to build it, right? You had the idea, but you needed investment right at the beginning, because building what you're talking about is actually really expensive and incredibly complicated.
Yes. So before we wrote a line of code, Scott and I went and visited, about 50 resorts in the United States. And we said, "Look, we teach snowboarding at ski resorts," which I do as well, or I have done in the past, and I will be at one of our resort partners this forthcoming winter, which I'm super excited about to get booked on my own platform. But, we went to this ski resort and said, we're teaching snowboarding, and people are coming up to us saying, I just waited in a line for an hour. And then when I got to the desk, it was 20 minutes dealing with the desk clerk, and I actually only want to book you for an hour, and there just has to be an easier way. And, it turns out we were getting a lot of this feedback from people at the resorts. People were writing to us saying,
You validated it 100%. That's over-validated it, actually.
Over-validated it. Like, I wanted to make sure we were really, really, really well informed before writing code. I'm a big fan of Steve Blank's works. The 4 Steps to Epiphany is a great book in terms of customer development and discovery. So we really did follow that. And
just hold on. Although one part of me wants to rush through because I want to get to the investment. Can we just stick on this for a second? So your 4 steps to customer discovery was what? You decided that there was potentially a problem out there. You then approached your target market and then came up with a solution, or you questioned the problem further? Talk me through a little bit what those 4 steps look like.
Yeah, so we questioned the problem a bit further. So the first thing that we did was validated it further on the user, on the consumer side of it. And then once we had those insights, we realized that, our business model is resort driven. It's ski resort driven, So then we validated, the problem on the resort side of it, and the consumers would tell us, well, we aren't aware of, all of this cool stuff that goes on at the resorts, and we would really love to be more aware of it. And the resorts said, well, we do have a lot of great things going on up here, but we do a really poor job of getting this information out to people, and the resorts then said, and as a result of that, we feel like we're leaving money on the table. And the consensus among the ski resorts was, we're stuck in old processes. We're stuck with people walking around with clipboards. I nearly forgot the name because it's so long ago since I've seen one, but like a clipboard and pens and paper and 1990s answering machines. One of our resort customers, you actually, even with market leading ski resorts today, I won't name them now, but if you go to their websites, you'll go book a lesson and it will take you to a phone number. Now, in some cases, in a lot of the cases, that phone number, if you call that after hours, after 5 o'clock, after 6 o'clock at night, you're going to go to a 1990s answering machine where, a consumer has the choice of, hi, this is the ski resort, please leave a message.
I got you. Right. So you're going through the discovery, you're going through then rediscovery to go a little bit deeper. Was there anything else that you did there that's aligned with the book?
The other thing that we did there was we just got out and spent and visited as many ski resorts as we possibly could, and the aim there was making sure that we had customers from the get-go.
Sean, that's a huge point because many of us market validate and we'll go and see 20 people, including our mom and our first cousin, and we'll come back and say, dude, I spoke to all these people, they love my product. Mm-hmm. But you went to 50 resorts.
Yes.
So you didn't just test it in one place or two or three or five. Like you went to 50 and then you went deeper and deeper and deeper into the resorts. Just brilliant, right? Everything you're doing is bang on. So now you've done that. You spent a little bit of money going to the resorts. What came next? You got to be looking for money now, right?
That's exactly what happened. Once we realized that we had a business model that was going to generate a profit, the next thing we needed to do was get a tech team together. So I called a very good friend of mine who I have known since the first software company I worked for, which was Mercury Interactive. I called Tim, and Tim is a senior executive in the Silicon Valley, working for another software company, and said, Tim, Scott and I are super excited. We've visited all these ski resorts, and we're going to build a bookings platform to make it easier for people to book lessons and buy lift passes from laptop and phone.
And what did he say?
He said, well, he goes, man, I take my kids up to Tahoe because he lives in San Jose all of the time, and you're right, this is a nightmare. I would actually love to help you however I can, and I would love to see this product taken to market. So Tim became one of our first investors. He also introduced...
Oh, he invested. So this is beautiful. Not only are you filling your skill gaps, you're filling your technology gap, you're filling your domain expertise gap. You're already the biz dev king. So you got all those gaps filled. You're actually trying to also bring those people in as investors too, because they can see the future and they want to have an equity position.
Totally. And for us, we were really lucky. Like for me, I just felt like the stars had aligned from the get-go, with... our first three investors were from the very first software company that I was ever employed at in Sydney called Mercury.
I don't think you were lucky at all. I think this is like a Gary Player thing. The more I practice, the luckier I get, right? The fact is, you had worked your way up in your previous industry to a level that you probably knew 200 people who could have been investors, right? And by the way, most of us are in a position whereby we know 20, 30, 40 people who could be investors. But we have a problem. Number one, we're not brave enough to reach out to them. And number two, we don't have a strong enough value proposition that makes them feel confident enough to come in. But you nailed both of those.
Yes. It was very...
Own that success.
Yes. It's huge. I'm hugely grateful for that. Like if there's one thing that I am, hugely grateful for in my life, it is the fact that, I did spend those 12 years in the enterprise software business, And the people I met, are now instrumental to the success I'm having today, and also the life that that I get to live.
So it's all breadcrumbs. Who would you say were your greatest mentors and people who helped you along that journey? And then after that, I want to go into detractors.
Great question. There are, for me, three standouts in the journey to date. Three guys that I really couldn't live without.
Well, your coach is probably going to be the number one, right? She was the one who started you on this journey.
Yeah, I mean Justine's involvement in getting us started was huge. I would not have had the courage. I would not have had the courage to leave my highly paid career had Justine not helped me through meditation find the clarity of vision that I needed to execute on my life's dream.
By the way, on a totally side point, do you recommend that every entrepreneur meditate, and why?
I totally do. And the reason I recommend it is because for me, one of the key components that pulled us through tough times was clarity of vision. And you'll find that through meditation, and you'll find that through looking after yourself. And if you've got a strong commitment to the clarity of vision that you have and the vision that you're taking into this, that to me will give you the courage to get through any of the tough times and create a monstrous company no matter what.
That's so powerful. Actually, we're going to call this podcast Clarity of Vision because it's so incredibly powerful. So she was huge. I mean, me knowing you and us being friends, I know what a strong force she is in your life. Who were the other mentors?
Then, we had Tim Van Ash, a very good friend of mine. I've known Tim, and he's also an investor in our company, and one of our earliest advisors. We wouldn't be here without Tim. Tim got behind the vision from the get-go, and helped me come into alignment with becoming a great entrepreneur as well. Which now I'm really, really totally strong, and confident in that position as a great entrepreneur. But starting out, there was a lot of doubt. Now I know I'm great at what we do, and I'm here to be and continue to be a great entrepreneur. And Tim helped me, along that path, helped us get the company off to a great start. He then connected me with Yash Shah. Yash is the biggest investor in our company.
He's your developer. He's developed all of the software, the website. He's developed the app. And I obviously know Yash really well. A great investor, hugely accomplished entrepreneur. But you see how these are all breadcrumbs. A lot of people, they don't go to that first breadcrumb because they think, this guy's not going to be good enough for me. But it leads to the second and the third and the fourth, and then you get to this place.
Yes.
Now, give me quickly the final mentor, and then I want to come to the bloodsuckers.
Absolutely. And then the final mentor, Brian, is you, and Expert Dojo, and
I'm a dick most of the day.
I've said this before. You're a very lovable dick, Brian. I mean, I am, hugely grateful for all of the people I have, mentioned on the podcast today. And the three of you guys have just been huge for me in different times and in different ways. But Brian, you and Expert Dojo created a really solid community here in Santa Monica, and that community has helped pull Ghost Snow through in the early stages, which was a tougher time, than the success we're having now. But the community there that Expert Dojo created, was huge, and we wouldn't be here. Ghost Snow wouldn't be still going without that support from the community or from the tribe to keep it through to get it to where it is now. And then just on the on the advice and leadership and inspiration that you yourself provide. My friend Justine, who we talk about now, is actually no longer with us, which was a tragedy last year. Which put me into quite a difficult place. At the beginning of 2018, and most certainly towards the end of 2017. And Brian, the inspiration and that you gave, which was, let's just keep looking at the bigger picture here, and everything's always working out, and it's going to continue to work out, and the guidance that you gave there was huge, and thank you.
No, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you. You and me are close. We're together on this journey, and it's easy now because you are in such a strong place of success. And we're going to talk about that in a second, but you have so many resorts now who have aligned with you and taken you on board. You have a platform which is off the charts good. You have a rock star. It's tick, 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 tick for me in every area, which is why we at Expert Dojo are an equity holder in you, because we love your product. But what I really respect about you is just you're a friggin' beast. And I remember, you talk about those difficult times, and most of the time when it comes to entrepreneurship, here's the challenge. We're building something bigger every single week. So we're going to build something. We'll say, okay, cool. Now we're going to build a website. It's going to cost 20K. So we're going to find 20K. Next week, we're going to build the app. We're going to need 100K. We're going to find 100K. And then the following week, we're going to go out and we're going to do marketing. And we need another couple of 100,000. And the challenge with that is it's more and more and more pressure. And there comes a time when you're trying to build so fast that the cash flow can't keep up with it. And the mark of, I think, strength and maybe your sense of clarity that you spoke about earlier on was that time maybe 6 or 8 months ago when there was no way to break through. I still look back at where you were and I think, how did he break through, just Sean, at that stage? With everything against you, needing to build stuff, extra things on, bring investment in. My hat's off to the strength, the character that you had. Maybe just speak to that for a second so people can understand you as I know you.
Yes. So 3 things that I strongly recommend every entrepreneur do. The first thing is get a community around you, like a strong community, people that make you laugh, people that are well connected, with people you need to be connected to, people that buy into your vision and can help pull you through should times get tough. The second thing would be clarity of vision, and I've spoken about that. And the third thing is looking after yourself. So despite really, 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 really tough times in the beginning of 2018 and towards the end of 2017, I was able to stay committed to the vision and committed to my personal mission. Which is making it easier for people to participate in snow sports. That's why I do what I do. So. Then in that, the other thing that I did was, I just looked after myself. I made sure I was going to yoga. I made sure I was meditating. I only eat plants. And then the other thing that I had around me, which is, with all of these things, was a community. So. Despite things being super, super tough, in terms of a lot of things, I had these 3 things that I was able to do to pull me through, and then having the community here at Expert Dojo, where I had resources around us and people that I loved and people that made me laugh, the toughness sort of wore thin, and I was able to look at the bigger picture and just keep showing up every day.
Because the hard thing is, I'm pushing this all back on you because this is all strength of character. And as entrepreneurs, whatever way you find to actually have this strength of character, it's going to be required. It's just, I don't know. We look at just Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates, and we look at them and we say, oh, they're great. Like they're shiny, nice, happy figures, or at least they were at their height. But getting there, everybody has this story of it's just impossible. You look at it, like I remember like 6-8 months ago, even and what you have is you have declining confidence because it's so impossible to break through. How do I raise the money? How do I build these extra features that need to be built? How do I bring these new people on? And you were there, and somehow, I mean, I know you've given the 3 ways you break through, but I don't think anybody here like really understands what you had to go through. And this is coming from a guy who's earning hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, one of the most accomplished people in his business, who's building a platform which is incredible. And you're literally standing in here saying, I don't even know how I'm going to make it through to tomorrow. And I didn't even know, but you did.
Yes. And I once had a local Santa Monica local venture capitalist say to me, when I sat down with this VC last year, actually, it's a VC I really love, and I sat down with him, and he's a lovely guy, and he was telling me about companies that he'd started in the past, and he said, he said to me, and sometimes you got to do it with no money, and I sort of, I still remember him saying that to me, and I was like, what do you mean do it with no money? What do you mean do it with no money? It's an impossibility to do this with no money. A couple of months later, I had to learn to do it with no money. And it was, I think, probably the most challenging thing I've had to do, where you've got, we were lucky, GoSnow was lucky because we started to get more and more resorts signing up. So we knew that we had a value proposition for resorts, and we were getting customers sign up. So we had a business, we needed to develop the platform, more, and our customers are in Australia, New Zealand, and the United States. So we needed some more funding for not only product development but supporting these customers as well. And we were at a point where we'd where we were on our really last dollars, for that I then was very lucky. We had some of.
Okay, can I give my perspective of what I saw, because it's so beautiful, and I really want every entrepreneur to be able to take this as to what you're going to need to have in your reserve tanks to make it through. Right. Sean is saying, sitting here with no money, zero money, nothing, $1, $2. Like there was nothing. There's nothing for development. There's nothing for marketing. There was nothing for eating. There was nothing for taxis. There was nothing for airports. He had a deployment 2 days later over in New Zealand or Australia. I mean, it was impossible, the position that you're in. And this is where the power of reframing comes in. Anybody else who is in that position where they're the CEO of a company, where they really know that most of that company is just themselves, but they have a phenomenal product and people are not realizing it just in that particular moment, they crumble because it's too much and it's impossible. But what Sean said was, I don't have anything right now. I am going to make sure that I am closer and tighter with the community than I have ever been before. You had 2 choices. You could have been at home and you could have sat in bed and you could have thought how unlucky life is and how unfair it is and how decisions were made and everything else. But you didn't. You came in here and you said to me, you know what I'm going to do, Brian? I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to call every damn resort in the world. I am going to become a marketing lunatic. Everybody we're going after. I'm going to go after every deployment. I don't have $1 to buy lunch, but I'm going to make sure that I have every single resort signed up by the end of the day. And if I don't eat for 3 days, it's okay. And if I get a deployment, well, we'll work out a way to get over to that deployment, even though I don't even see how it's possible. And I remember really well, we go to another level of impossibility. Not only did you sign up like 8-10 resorts over that week, but you got a deployment. And then you said, whoa, I got to go over to New Zealand. How are we going to get there? I'm going to just get an Uber there. And you're like, well, I don't have any money for an Uber. Now, this is a deployment in a resort. So we got you to the airport. Then you're like, well, I need to fly there. How am I going to fly there? So we got an investor in who invested in air miles. Yes, you heard it here. Maybe the only entrepreneur in the world who got their investment in air miles to get over to a resort to do a deployment. And then you arrived over in that resort. You galvanized your team. Everybody saw this Braveheart moment or this gladiator moment at the end where they thought, are you kidding me? Like, anyone who can react to this situation like this is someone who's going to build $100 million billion business. And everybody believed. They went from non-belief to absolute extraordinary belief within seconds. You nailed it on that deployment with that resort. And that brings us to today. And for the last just couple of minutes, I want to talk about this incredible platform that you've built where now you're deploying in Powder Mountain, you're deploying in other resorts, you have more investors coming in. Hell, we even made an offer of investment, but we couldn't even compete with our terms with the investors that you got with subsequent investors who came in. So you've never been better.
Yes.
So there is like my two messages from this little monologue is number one, for entrepreneurs everywhere, there is hope, but only if you're a beast. Only if you don't stay at home, you get out there and you deal with this impossibleness of what faces you with equal ferocity. Mm-hmm. Right? And then number two is I want this to be a masterclass on how you build a great business from the bottom and keep driving it through. So let's just finish these last couple of minutes. Sean, tell us the value proposition right now in Go Snow. Tell us where it's going to go in the future and how people can get engaged.
Sure. So we're hugely lucky to be where we're at now. You know,
you're hugely beastly.
Hugely beastly, exactly. You know, and I even think back about how we, got through the first part of the year, and it's beyond me, but I know that I was committed to the vision, and I was committed to doing the work, and am still hugely, committed to creating, a huge, big company.
And what does it look like? So fast forward, today we have 8-9 resorts, right? Mm-hmm. All signed up, all using Go Snow technology. I know the next step is to make sure that it becomes a full Travelocity or Priceline or Kayak for the entire snow sports industry.
And I'm glad you mentioned Priceline and Kayak, because they're owned by Bookings Holdings, and that company has gone out and made several acquisitions in the Bookings space, which is where Go Snow is. And that they bought Open Table for $1.6 billion. They bought another bookings platform for $2.6 billion.
We're going to make some money?
We are totally going to make some money.
Okay.
We've, we foresee, like, just in the very, so we know that there is a potential out there for $1 billion outcome. We know that's there, but bringing this back into, what are we doing right now? So right now we're about to deploy at Powder Mountain, and we have a plan in place with those guys where we'll do at least 1,000 bookings through our platform by the end of March. Now, the average ticket through our platform is $350. So that's $350,000 in revenue by the end of March.
Wow.
Which we're really stoked on. Now, we've also got new partners, Mammoth Mountain. Yes, that's the big one in California that everybody in San Francisco and Los Angeles loves to visit.
Beautiful.
We also work with Bear Mountain and Mountain High, so a lot of the resorts in and around our area. We've got resorts in Australia, New Zealand. We've got heli ski operators in New Zealand as well. And what we're aiming to do over the next 12 months and this is really cool, we will sign up, only another 20 resorts. It's all we need to do because we've already got 10. And the cool thing is we had 5 2 months ago. So we've doubled. And we're going to get to 30 resorts within the next 12 months. Now that will generate about 80,000 bookings through our platform and 5 million net revenue. So from an investor perspective, that means a $20 million Series A valuation towards the end of the calendar year in 2019.
Boom.
Boom.
We'll take that. So look, the platform is going great. How can everybody find you, Sean, and how can everybody contact you?
Sure. So it's Sean at gosnowpass.com. Feel free to email. That's SEAN at gosnowpass.com. Feel free to email. I'm always at Expert Dojo. I'm a active and very loved member of the community here.
Dude, we love you.
Which I'm very grateful for.
We love you, and we love your money even more because we know for us, Go Snow is on a phenomenal trajectory right now. I am pleased as punch that we are an equity holder in your company, and we will be supporting you right till the very end, and then after you exit, and then right back into the next company again. So I really mean it, Sean. Like, congrats on everything that you've achieved on this, because you've gone through the impossible. You've built something with real value, and now just enjoy everything that the other side brings.
And I love that, and I really
do you still need investment, by the way? So you'll probably be going for another. I know the last round closed, but you'll probably go for another round of investment in like Q1 or Q2 next year, right?
Correct. We've got cash now. We've got great customers now, so we're in a really good place. But we will go and raise $1.2 million in the first calendar quarter of 2019.
Okay, beautiful. Sean, it's a pleasure, my friend, and to many more to come.
Yes.
That is a wrap. Thanks for joining us. If you love the podcast, please empower your circle by sharing these stories. The Art of Startup War is brought to you by Expert Dojo. And remember, we invest in startups, $50,000 checks. Make sure you apply on our site if you are one of those great entrepreneurs looking to bring your company to the next level. As far as the Art of Startup War is concerned, we are back every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. So remember, check out the new episodes. If you want to find out what the investors think, check out season 1 or 2. But make sure you join us every single week.